Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to get the lens distortions corrected and your architectural photography very straight. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Je m'appelle Serge Ramelli. My name is Serge Ramelli. I'm a French photographer living in the amazing cities of Paris, France. But right now, I'm in Los Angeles, California. And I have the honor and the privilege of making 2 tutorials per week. If you want to get the raw file of this episode, and we're talking 2 raw files, click here for the link. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel and get for free over 184 tutorials, click here. In last episode, I showed you how I shot New York from an helicopter using the amazing Sony A7S and how you get the best settings to do that. Check it out. This week, we're still in New York, and I'm going to show you how to correct architectural photography and lens distortion to make your photos very straight, your buildings straight and nice, and many more tips. So let's go to New York. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. So to be able to follow the tutorial I'm going to show you now, you need to download Autopano Pro 3.7 by Color. It's a French company, color.com, and you have the link on my website. Please click from my website, you go to photosearch.com, and you click on my gear, and you should be able to download it from there. Okay, because it's really what I use to make panoramas, and I will show you a bit more some advanced settings than what I showed you last time. So let me just, I want to show you a photo that I took of the Flatiron building, but first, this is the retouched version of it. So what I usually do is I retouched, this is going to be a 2 photo pano. So it's not really a panorama, it's a vertorama. Okay, and let me just let me reset the retouching that I did. So that's the original photo. So what I usually do is I shoot manual. Let me show this to you. Take this off. This first photo was shot at 6 seconds on a tripod. I wanted to get a long exposure because there was a lot of people passing by in cars, so sort of getting everybody sort of blurry. And at f8, ISO 80. The only reason why I didn't go for like f13 to get more of a starlight effect in the lights, it's because I didn't want the exposure to be too long because there was so much people passing by that 6 seconds for me was a good window where I could catch, people not passing by. So usually what I do is I retouch the first photo. So let me show you the second photo. The second photo, let me take this off. This is my second screen. Okay, the second photo is the same setting, 6 seconds, f8, ISO 80. Okay, so the first photo, also talking about the lens, I shot this with a 24-70 on the Sony A7R at 27 millimeters, so pretty wide. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the shadows and bring on the highlights. You have never seen me doing this. This is amazing. And then I'm gonna press the Alt key and do my white point. Everything is black except where it's 100% white, and I'm going to do the opposite. Now, this creates a problem here. I don't like the way that lamp looks, and that's because of the highlights. So sometimes it's good to bring back some of the highlights so that I find that this is nicer, that this kind of looks weird, and to leave a more natural, highlight, I think is nicer. Okay, now, for the white balance, if you go like on daylight, or if you go on cloudy, or if you go on shade, you're going to get very warm things. But if you go to tungsten and fluorescent, you're going to get some cool stuff. So usually what I do is I go to tungsten, which I like the kind of natural look that it gives, and I add a little bit of magenta because my name is Serge Ramelli Magenta. I love magenta, I'm in love. Okay, so that's the first thing. Clarity, I'm actually going to go minus on this. Because there's so much stuff going on that I don't want to add a little HDR look to it. So I'm taking it out by doing a minus clarity. Crazy. And then I'm going to zoom in. I'm not quite sharp on this photo. I could have been sharper, but it's going to be good enough. But the problem is that my tripod was, I'm using a pretty expensive but small tripod, and the middle leg, when you put it high, sometimes you get a little shake, which is what I got here. But it's fine. So so sharpening, on this one I'm gonna do my good formula of, I think I'm gonna go to about 90 of sharpening, and 10 of noise reduction, because when you do sharpen, it brings a lot of noise. I do the masking. Now, masking, I'm going to put 50. I'm going to press Alt to show you. Anything that is black is not going to get sharpened. If I'm going a little too fast, check out my channel. There is many tutorials where I'm showing this. This is my sort of regular workflow. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to remove chromatic aberration in case some chromatic aberration was hidden somewhere. I find that we have less and less these days. And I repeat, I do not do the upright function on this, because I find that if I do the upright, if I try to solve some of the troubles we have with this photo in terms of distortions due to the lens distortion, that it does, when you merge it, it does a less good job. That's my experience. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to the second photo, and I'm going to click on synchronize, and I'm going to synchronize, Command Z to undo, big mistake. What you do, so the first photo is retouched, okay? So the first photo is not retouched, I have to go back. This is the retouch version, voila. Okay, this is the retouch version. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of the photos, okay, but I have to be on the first one. Then I click on synchronize, and I make sure everything check all, and then synchronize. So it's gonna, whatever I did on the first photo is gonna do the same thing on the second photo, okay? That's pretty cool. And the second photo is kind of a bit dark, so I might, but don't do it too much, because then the Autopano is gonna have trouble, but I might just boost a little bit the exposure just for the top one, but like 0.25, not more, okay? Then I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna export. I'm gonna go, I have a export panel. I'm using this export panel Mexico. What it does, it's just putting these two files somewhere on my hard drive. So I'm gonna call this the Flatiron Building in New York. Very famous architecture. Okay, and so I'm exporting it as TIFF, zip, and I'm gonna do on this one 16-bit to get the best possible quality. Okay, TIFF, zip, ProPhoto RGB as color space, and 16. So the top of the top of the top, the best of the best. Okay, I'm going to export this, two files. I'm going to overwrite because I've already done it before, but you don't need to do that. So this is what I do. I always put all my panels to do in a specific space on my hard drive. And then I'm going to jump over to Autopano, which is here. And I'm going to put on pause until it's exported, and I'll show you how we do this. Okay, so the first thing you do when you open up Autopano is click on this icon here, and you go to the place where you've put the files. For me, it's in this place, and I call it the Flatiron Building. So all you have to do is click on the folder itself, click choose. So the folder, and just press OK. The folder contains the two photos. It's going to find the two photos. And it's going to try to do like a preview here. So it's going to automatically try to do a panel. So I'm going to click here on edit, because now this is a preview. Edit. The problem is that the panel, the software did not understand that the panel was up and down. Usually, panels are from left to right. So I'm going to have to click here on this to rotate the space. Okay, usually what I do also on the color correction, because I spend quite some time doing color correction, I'm going to click on none to see if there is a big difference between the sky and the bottom. Actually works pretty well. Okay, and what's very important is to use, I'm going to show you this, projects and settings. So what projects and settings is basically different ways of doing panoramas. So, they got 10 different. So spherical, it's kind of cool, but you see it makes everything a bit kind of rounded. Planar is really the best for architecture because everything is straight. The Flatiron Building is still crooked. This is still crooked, so we're gonna have to fix that. Panini is another way of doing it. I'm never using it. It's like a bit the spherical, but a bit less rounded. Cylindrical, a bit the same feeling. Mercator. Now, Mercator is the one that I use a lot also. When I'm not doing when I'm doing landscape, I usually only use two: Mercator for landscape and Planar when there is buildings. Okay, and Planar, I'm going to show you there's some other ones like Hammer, Mirror Ball, Fish Eye, orthographics, little planet. Okay, it's just different ways of doing a panel. This one doesn't have enough information, but I'm gonna go to planner. Okay, I want a realistic panorama. And when you go to planner, mesdames et messieurs, you see this red and green line here. If you click on it, it says vertical line, horizontal line. Okay, but horizontal line says planner projection only. So first I'm gonna do vertical lines. All I want is I'm gonna click here, hold on my mouse, and I said, okay, this is a Flatiron building. I want it to be straight, but I also want this building to be straight. So you just follow, how the building is. And so the software can figure out like, what are the problems, okay? So you see this is crooked, this is a bit less crooked, this is crooked the other way, this is crooked differently. It's a bit the same that we have with photo merge, except that this software, honestly, when you do big print, because with photo merge, I find so many mistakes, of merging, and I never find any with this software. So I'm gonna click boom, and now everything is kind of straight. But I don't want to render, I only want to render what's really useful. So I'm gonna click here on this tool, which is the crop tool. Okay, and I'm gonna crop here. I want the bottom. I want maybe some of that. That light is really bothering me, so I'm gonna, one thing you have to realize when you make night photos is that the eyes follows what is the most lighted, with the brightest in the photo. The brightest thing in the photo is this light. Okay, now this is not the star of this photo. This is the star of this photo. So by doing this, it's a artistic choice that I just want to make sure that I don't have this in the photo. So it's not going to distract anything. Okay, now here is the top of the building. Now this is super important. I'm going to go here because I need the sky here. I need that little piece of sky. I need, it's a rule in composition that you need to give space to your star. The star of this photo is a Flatiron building, so I want to make sure it has space. I don't want to crop the top of it. So I'm missing sky here, but I'm going to deal with that later on. So I'm going to press enter, and now I've got a nice photo of the Flatiron building. Okay, it's a very, portrait mode, but I think it's a cool photo. Maybe I'm gonna add a bit of space here and maybe a little bit of space here and space here, we'll see. I don't know, I find it's a little bit too portrait. So just adding a little bit more can go on a long way like this. I'm gonna press enter. Okay, that's kind of cool. So now I'm ready to render. I have a problem here, but I'm gonna solve that in Photoshop. So I'm gonna press the cogwheel here, and you see the panel is gonna be 5973 pixels wide and 9406 wide because it is two files which are 36 million pixels. So it's going to make an amazing print. Okay, I always choose the blending preset anti-ghost because it helps, especially when you have a lot of stuff moving in the photo, it helps to correct that. And format, I'm not going to go JPEG, I'm going to go TIFF 16-bit because I imported TIFF 16-bit, so I want the whole thing to be cool. And I'm going to export this on the specific Pano New York, Pano made New York. Okay, I'm not going to change the file name because I could change the file name here. I could call this, Pano Flat Iron. Okay, and now it's going to render, and it actually renders fast. All you have to do is render. It renders pretty fast. I find it's like 2 times more faster than photo merge in Photoshop, roughly per my estimation. So it's gonna do is saying, and I'm gonna put on pause until it's done. Okay, so I have re-imported the render result in Lightroom, and just I forgot to show you how I did that, but basically I have this folder here called Pano Made New York. This is all the, from the book I'm doing on New York, all the panos I'm making. Once they're rendered, they always go to that folder. And then all I have to do is right click on synchronize the folder, and it's going to update the folder in Lightroom as I do my panos. And okay, so now we need to go into Photoshop to fix that, to fix this missing sky. So for this, I'm just going to right click on edit Adobe Photoshop CC 2014. And I'm going to click on edit, copy with Lightroom adjustment. And now over to Photoshop. Okay, so I'm in Photoshop now, and in Photoshop, I need to correct this guy that's missing. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to create a blank layer, and then I'm going to take my stem tool,
which is here. I always press S for the stem tool, so I never know where to look for it. It's here. My God. That's the problem when you use shortcuts all your life. You don't even click on icons anymore. Okay, so the principle of this stem tool is very simple. So I have an empty layer. Make sure that the sample is current and below, or all layers, you know, but current and below is cool. So it's going to affect this layer and the one below. And I'm going to press Alt and just take some of that sky and just put it up there. Okay, now the problem is when I'm going to get close to the Flatiron building, I need to be very careful to not erase part of the Flatiron building. So the way you do that is you just zoom in when you get closer. First, I'm doing the big cloning, you know, the very easy cloning. I mean, there's not much detail in the sky, which is not cool because I love details in the sky. And okay, so ready. So I'm going to zoom in. I press Z and I'm zooming in. And now S back to the tool, to the stem tool. Okay, and I'm just being careful because the problem is that the hardness is at 0%. So the size of your brush is actually bigger than you expect. So for example, if I click here and I brush here, I'm going to erase a little bit of the Flatiron. So I'm going to undo that. So I need to make it smaller. So to make a tool smaller in Photoshop, that is a very good shortcut. It is. You hold on the Control and the Alt key on your keyboard and you move your mouse. When you do that, it makes it shorter. It makes it smaller. Okay. Now, Tag, Alt, I'm just going to go around very carefully, you know, like just very carefully. And make sure you sample from skies which are close to, I mean, skies is so random that you can get away with a lot by cloning skies. Okay, now I can make it bigger and I can just finish this. Okay, I can just finish this and finish this. Voila. Okay, so all that S, I think something's missing here. All that sky actually has been put on its own layer. All I did was, you know, copy and paste. So now that's all I want to do in Photoshop. Now I'm going to press Command W and I'm going to get the photo back in Lightroom and I'm going to double the action, double the suspense. I'm going to do a double development. And what double development is, you're in Lightroom, the photo is coming back, and it's like a new cycle for Lightroom. So you can just go back and you can again open up the shadows, again bring down the highlights, and again do your white and your black. And when you do that, you give a certain power. Let me show you the before, after. You know, I'm giving it a lot more details, okay? And basically, the only thing I would do on this photo, I think there's too much attention on the road, so I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna go to exposure. This is this is the graded filter. I'm gonna lower the exposure, and I'm just gonna make this a little bit darker because again, the eyes goes to the brightest part of the photo, and we want the star to be this building. Like here, I would probably in the final photo, I'm gonna make another one here and another one here. In the probably for final photo, I would spend some time to take that off. It just bothers me that light leaks here. Okay, and the last thing I think I'm gonna do, and that's a secret, but please tell no one. I'm gonna take a brush. I'm gonna go to exposure. I'm gonna boost the exposure. I'm gonna, and this is a secret, I'm gonna make a very low flow intensity. Very low flow density. I'm going to make a very small brush and I'm going to add some clouds, some little clouds in the sky. All I'm doing basically is just adding a little bit of a white at some points to add a little bit, because there was a bit of clouds but are sort of hidden. Okay, it's not much, I agree. It's not a big deal. And right now it's kind of too much visible. So the trick is to not go to 0.70, but when you do that, to go like to 0.32. It's very small, but on a big print, it makes a difference. Before, after, I just added a little bit of matter here. And I probably, on this one, probably will do a little post-crop vignetting to even, no, it's too much. Okay, I think I'm gonna end here. But it's pretty cool. So the whole idea was to get this building as it looks, you know, like very straight and not completely crooked like like the camera is giving to you. So check out Autopano Pro. It's amazing. It's my only go-to software for making panels. Now, I don't even go into photo merge because I'm doing a book on Paris. I'm doing a book on New York. I'm working for a lot of galleries and I cannot afford to have like a panel, because what the problem with photo merge is that you think your panel is cool, and then when you look at it 100% or you print it and you just spend $500 on a big print, you find out that the blending is not quite perfect. And when you do a big print, you find out about it and you're like, oh my God. Looking at the photo since a couple of minutes, I think I should probably, this moved a little bit, probably just boost a little bit the exposure and the contrast. Yeah, that's just a fitting, I like when I do photos just to look at it and put my attention on something else and come back to it and see if it needs more work or not. But I guess that's kind of, that's kind of cool. I probably will look at it tomorrow and decide something else. But anyways, you get the idea. Back to me.
All right, mesdames et messieurs, I hope you liked this episode. If there is any suggestions of things you want me to share, just leave a comment in the video. In any case, leave a comment in the video. Also, if you can share this to the world, that would be amazing. Formidable. Thank you so much, and I will see you in another episode. Mesdames et messieurs, I have one thing to say. Au revoir.